What up, Vegan Soul Sisters? My name is Romany Malco. I am an actor, writer, director, and founder of the online community Life Management Tribe. I guess one of the main reasons for me creating this online community was I see so much antisocial behavior taking place on social media. And it's not just social media. This is at work. This is at the playground with your children. This is at the grocery store. People fear one another. People judge one another based on their economic standing. And consistently subjecting ourselves to those types of environments is unhealthy. It promotes insecurities, anxiety, stress. And rather than sitting around ridiculing these communities for what I didn't like, I decided that I was going to create a community that I would like. Just before I moved to Puerto Rico, I was pulled over by a police officer in Redondo Beach, California. I had absolutely no idea why I was being pulled over. Maybe I was speeding. I didn't know we were in a residential area. And this police officer approached me with so much aggression that I really found it intimidating. And what made me even more nervous was that while the police officer is at my window speaking to me, his partner is peering into the car from the other side. And I'm not sure what his motive is, but he's constantly staring. So I give the police officer my registration and my ID, and the two police officers go back to their car. And when they return to my car, the spirit and energy of these people are completely different. They're suddenly really jovial and accommodating. And he's like, "You're not the guy from 40-Year-Old Virgin, are you? You wouldn't be the dude Conrad from Weeds." And I'm like, "Yeah, I was in that." And he's like, "My wife loves you, man. I'd ask you for a pic, but I'm on duty. I'm not gonna give you a ticket, man. Nice to meet you, blah, blah, blah." They get in their cars and they drive off. And as cool as they ended up treating me, that really scared me. And the reason it scared me was because those police officers never saw me. They saw a man in a car that they believe deserved to be treated with aggression. And then they saw Conrad from Weeds. But me, Romany Malco, I was never part of the equation. What that meant to me was that I could either be judged for a preconceived notion of who I am or for a character that I had played on television. And people do this to each other every single day. People do it to me every single day. They don't see each other. They don't treat one another like people. They don't know their neighbors. And to me, that absence of community is detrimental to your overall development. Another quick story is when I was much younger, I just turned 30, and I had a lot of negative internal dialogue. And this negative internal dialogue was overbearing. It would prevent me from being in the moment. So I might be having a conversation with you, but in the midst of that conversation, my brain is going over everything that I said and how I might be perceived in a previous conversation because I was so obsessed with seeming better than I thought I was. That internal dialogue would not stop. So I decided that I would see a therapist for the first time. And I went to see a therapist who, oddly enough, seemed to need just as much therapy as me, because every time I tried to talk about something that meant something to me, she found a way to make it about her, to tie it into her life, and then she'd go on a tangent about what she had experienced. That first therapy session was a bit frustrating, and I thought to myself, I might not want to do this again. But I said I'd give it one more try. And the exact same thing happened. I started talking about something, she starts talking about how it relates in her life, and I thought, man, this can't be what therapy is. Even though I did go on to find another therapist that was more suitable for me, my takeaway from those first two therapy sessions was this. By sitting across from someone and sharing what was on my mind without being judged, it helped to quiet some of the chatter. Just that person being a sounding board for what little bit of time she was gave me enough of an opportunity to see myself objectively and quiet some of my internal dialogue. I interviewed Javier Sanchez on the Life Management Tribe podcast. He has an organization, and their goal is to help underserved kids become productive members of society. And in their studies, one of the things that they found was that they'd always come across a few people, no matter how bad they had it, no matter how poor the community, there were always a few kids that were always able to beat the odds. And the common denominator between all of those kids was they all had a loving, caring, non-parental adult in their lives, a mentor. And I believe that we need those too. Even as grown-ups, we need that non-judgmental, caring adult, because without it, we don't benefit from what I experienced when I went to a therapist. We can't all afford to go to a therapist, but in a community, we'd be supportive of one another. We'd build one another up. We'd be very open about what it is we had gone through without the fear of judgment, without the fear of ridicule. But here's the irony. We're becoming more and more individualistic in our pursuit of success. And despite what anyone else might tell you, true success, a true sense of fulfillment, is very difficult to obtain without a sense of purpose, and purpose is practically impossible without a community to serve. One of my favorite Martin Luther King quotes is, "The question that is most pertinent and most urgent is, what are you doing for others?" And as we allow ourselves to be divided with judgments and the differences in the way that we live, and we live vicariously through our screens, we strip away any true chance at having a community. And that community is a big part of how we heal. I'm saying that from personal experience. A healthy community is a tool for healing. And as Frederick Douglass once said, raising strong children is easier than repairing broken men. And me being burdened with optimism, when I hear that quote, I hear, so broken men can be repaired, is what you're saying. But it's true. Without people to empathize with you, it's very difficult to repair yourself from your trauma. And that's what Life Management Tribe is all about. Thank you for listening to my long-winded ass. Thank you, Tamara, for being such a supportive entity at Life Management Tribe. Your writing is incredible. Thank you for allowing me to speak before this beautiful audience of vegan soul sisters. My name is Romany Malco, lifemanagementtribe.com. I hope to see you there.